Hello and welcome to Evolve Pipedrive podcast. We talk all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and the Pipedrive marketplace. My name is Bruce Bignell. I'm the sales director here at Evolve. And today it's my pleasure to be joined by Stephen Brennan, the partnership manager at Leadfeeder for EMEA. Leadfeeder is a website visitor analytics software that shows you the companies that are visiting your website and how they got there, what pages they clicked. Now, I'm really looking forward to this conversation with Stephen for a couple of reasons. One, Stephen has been posting on LinkedIn recently about his work from home routine, and this is something I'm really working on at the moment. As I've spoken to Stephen about this, I'm currently standing up for the first time using a stand-up desk and recording this podcast standing up. So if you hear some creaks, that's just my floorboard. And two, I get so many questions from customers and or prospects ask me about lead gen, ABM, account-based marketing, and sales intelligence tools. So I'm sure anyone that's been speaking to me recently, I'll recommend this conversation because I'm sure we're going to get some really great insights in this. Plus, Leadfeeder is on the Pipedrive marketplace, ready for you to try on the links in the description below. Stephen, welcome. Please can you introduce yourself and Leadfeeder to our audience, please?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Stephen, partner manager, as you mentioned. So I look after all of our agencies globally, mainly focusing in EMEA. So we have over 650 agencies that me and the team look after. So enabling them to implement Leadfeeder for themselves or their clients and helping them get the most out of the platform, as well as utilizing the data as well as part of their marketing strategies and sales strategies as well. I also work with clients that are leveraging Leadfeeder as well and sharing how our intent data can empower their sales engine as well as review and improve their marketing function as well.
Nice. And a little bit about Leadfeeder. So Leadfeeder, we spoke about this before, but a lot of our listeners are already on Pipedrive or considering the switch. And if you're already on Pipedrive and using some of the functionality like the leads inbox, you may have seen some of the data, right, from Leadfeeder.
Exactly. So we actually power that function within Pipedrive. So we're giving a lot of the core features and data and powering that function within Pipedrive. So that's a good initial intro into the world of B2B intent data before actually leveraging our full tool and all of the additional features that come with that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and it's so powerful when you start getting into it that the leads inbox, not the leads inbox is where your leads might end up, but the prospecting tool is where you'll find this data. So tell me a little bit about Leadfeeder itself. How's it? I think HQ's in Helsinki, quite near just across the Estonian river, where Pipedrive's based, right? So it's pretty close by. But what's the kind of the setup of the company? Is it very sales led? Is it very product led? Developers? What's the kind of makeup of the team there?
Yeah, of course. So this is recently just changed as we've gone through a merger with EchoBot. So the team has actually doubled in size. So just under about 150 employees on the Leadfeeder side and just shy of that on the EchoBot side. But it's constantly changing. I'm sure someone will mention this. So we've got a few extra by the end of the day. So it's been a really exciting time. Really good mix of product development and sales as well. Also, we have a mix of working within the office. So we have 6 offices globally, and then we also have a remote team stretching as far as India and down to Argentina as well. So very wide mix of where our employees are actually based.
Oh wow! And are they similar? So if you go to Argentina or India, are they kind of partnerships, kind of sales teams in those regions? Is that what?
So the person I actually mentioned from India, they sit within our marketing team, and
Yeah.
the person actually in Argentina sits within our customer success team. So all the different functions can be widely spread. We are a remote first company and have been pretty much from the start, at least over 7 years, and the company's been going for over 10. So we've always been a remote first company and kind of use that as a way of driving the company forward as well, and something that will continue even with our merger with EchoBot.
Yeah, nice. So from a business standpoint, with this being remote first, with the team being so dispersed, what does across the globe, what does a typical customer look like for you? What is the Leadfeeder ICP?
Yeah, of course. So we do focus on small to medium businesses, but we do have the ability, especially with our pricing model and how it's structured, to be able to work with smaller organizations. I've seen accounts come on that have just been maybe one or two sales people within the organization and just starting out all the way up to enterprise. I would say for core for us, where we see a lot of success, is they at least have a marketing function in and normally five sales users end up is where we would see our typical bread and butter. Regions that we focus on, we do have kind of focus within our homegrown region, so that will be within the Nordics and now also with EchoBot within DAC. But we also have a good focus within the UK, mainland Europe. The US is also a very strong market for us and across Asia. But the platform does have a wide reach across the globe as well. It'll just have better data quality in some of those core regions that we focus on. And the tool is only really for B2B organizations as well, just due to the nature of how the tracker works and the data that we present as well.
Yeah, understood. You mentioned there about the kind of, if you've got a marketing person and or a sales team of five, kind of at the embers or the start of when you might look to use Leadfeader all the way up to enterprise. Who should be championing something like this internally? Is it the sales manager? Is it the sales superstar, the individual, or is it the marketing team to get more data to allow them to run more specialized campaigns? Where do you see that working best?
I would say the tool, probably in the day-to-day activity, actually sits with sales. So you will see a lot of the main users as sales individuals within the platform. And also as well, I would like to see, especially when dealing with clients, their sales champion really kind of coming on, understanding the full breadth of what the tool can do and driving the strategy. I see a lot of success when they fully understand how to utilize our data to help improve their internal processes, whether that is just reviewing the lead quality that marketing is sending and being able to align better with that, or using the data in their personalization and outreach, or helping them with their prioritization of leads and when to reach out and making sure it's in a timely manner. But one thing that we always see within tech, within organizations, that marketing do tend to be involved in the process. And we also do have a really strong marketing use case for the platform as well, that we're able to understand the quality of leads that they're bringing in, the relevancy of them in line with the organization's, their ICP, and being able to actually look into their campaigns as well. And then also, if they are struggling to convert them into filling in a form, they can still at least pass these leads across the sales, where they can then really get stuck in a lot earlier on than what they would be able to without a tool like ours, where they would have to wait for that form submission to be able to then understand and reach out to these individuals.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I always think of any tool like this, if you, instead of them competing against each other, right, that they're on the same bloody team, sales and marketing, but they should be able to, if you can share data between each other, and or so if you know what the marketing campaign, if you know what the company's marketing campaigns are going to be for the next quarter, that can then align your sales activities for that quarter as well. I really like your point there about if they're just not filling out the form, we'll get the guy on the phone to guys or girls on the phone to give them a bell. And just understand where they are in their buying journey, whatever it might be. So it's really a twinned approach, but mainly the sales guys would come in and say, "Look, we need something." That's what you see.
Yeah, I would say that it's normally the pain point that's felt by sales, that they're either kind of moving into an inbound led approach and they want a tool like this to kick that off, or it might be that they're already struggling with inbound leads and they're not just quite getting enough leads for marketing, or they don't know, or it might be on the flip side, they might actually have a large volume of leads that are coming through and they're struggling to understand where to spend their time, where to spend the time and where to focus. And that's definitely a good use case for the platform as well.
So why do you see people choose Leadfeader over other similar tools on the market?
Yeah, of course. So, as you might have seen from the demo that we've posted below, the usability of the actual platform is something that we hear a lot. So, the ability to be able to go into the platform and pick it up quite quickly everything is well laid out and structured. We have a wide reach, as mentioned earlier, across the globe as far as data quality. We also have the ability to integrate with a lot of leading CRM systems, which, again, if you have a look through the demo we did earlier, allows you to then sync in the data such as Pipedrive and be able to then pass our data into the Pipedrive system, or be able to see the Pipedrive information within Leadfeader, such as look at all of your own accounts if you're a sales individual, or be able to understand if someone later within your sales process is now coming back to the site, or things like that.
Nice. And what you mentioned earlier about the Echo Dot acquisition? So we're talking September of 2022. Obviously, that was quite recent. Does that affect the roadmap? Obviously, you showed me some new functionality in terms of the custom fields from within Leadfeader being able to be updated within Pipedrive. What does the roadmap look like for the platform, and what you can do?
It's a really exciting time, especially after the merger meant that there was a lot of investment, a lot further growth in employees across the board, and also a merger of two great technologies. So where Leadfeader has all of its great ability to understand the intent, EchoBot has the ability to be able to find those exact contacts at the organization quickly. We also have the ability to then search organizations and build up as a target list, so a lookalike audience, do that. So that's through the connect and target features within EchoBot. So we'll definitely start to see, as we merge the two technologies and get the best of both, those sorts of functions coming in. So what that will particularly look like, we're not sure, but as far as hopefully being able to see those leads coming in, then someone within sales being able to look at the contacts, pull that contact through, have that passed into the CRM, and then be able to target accordingly in a very fast manner, will definitely save that time from having to do further research, further due diligence. You'll have that contact, you're able to get straight into that prospecting feature, and lots more to come. There's lots of exciting things that we're talking about at the moment for that go-to-market strategy, hopefully early in next year.
Yeah, I can see on the wry smile you are excited about about what's down the pipe. In terms of you said a part of your role is actually being a consultant to help people kind of design how to implement Leadfeader and whatever else. What does having that merger bring to that role as well? Does it just give you more tools? Like what does that bring as like individually? What do you think that will bring to your kind of role?
Yeah, of course. So it'll give a wider range of products. So definitely in that sense, it'll be a lot to learn on my side, and then a lot to teach coming from that. It'll also improve in areas as well. So overall, it's going to further build on our database. So it'll give us abilities to try out new strategies, empower some of our more colder outreach strategies, empower our ABM tools that we've got built out as well. So there'll be a lot more touch points of where we can really affect both sales and marketing, as say from the sales standpoint of making sure that they have the right contacts at the right time and can move quickly through the process, and for marketing being able to have the right targets, the right data, so that they are again being able to be helping and be able to convert at a higher rate.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so Leadfeeder and Pipedrive. What's your experience of the two systems, and how do they integrate?
Yeah, of course. So where actually Pipedrive users here at Leadfeeder, so my day-to-day is in the Pipedrive system, using the CRM, and we have a native two-way integration with Pipedrive, and it's been a long-standing relationship with the guys over at Pipedrive, as you mentioned earlier, a short boat trip, and with the rest of the team have definitely done that over time, which is great.
Yeah.
So what that enables you to do, as mentioned, and definitely gone into detail in the demonstration, is have our data filter into the Pipedrive system and enrich that data so that the sales team can use the data for personalization and making sure that they are reaching out at the right times with the right information, rather than more of a generic approach. I'm sure if we quickly opened up either of our inboxes, we'd see those kind of emails that are coming through that are unpersonalized, very top level of what an organization can offer. versus something that's empowered by intent data, where someone's able to understand the pain point, what they're researching, where that time has truly been spent on your website, and then use that information within that outreach. So you can start to talk about not just your overall offering, but that particular solution to a problem. So that's where I'd say it definitely helps and it advances and enriches the data that we would have in Pipedrive. And then also the Pipedrive information helps us deliver better filters within the Leadfeeder system, such as being able to filter if they're in your CRM or not already. So data known to you, not known to you, if they're in a particular lead status, if they're in a particular deal stage, all of these things that can then be used for our automation to, again, pass a task back, well, an action back into Pipedrive, or it might be to use the tags that we've gone into a little bit within the demonstration to then trigger automation within the Pipedrive system. So they work seamlessly together, and it kind of allows for a lot of new exciting things that both sales and marketing can benefit from.
Yeah, it was quite nice. I was pleasantly surprised by the UI, where everything you would want to do from within Leadfeeder in Pipedrive you could do, right, in terms of, okay, this is they've taken this action, they've landed on my website with this intent, they've clicked this link, great, let's assign this person to. So as a sales manager, you can then assign that person to one of your sales team members, and or you can create a deal, create a lead, and all those things, just that kind of perfect two-way sync, versus having to then copy and paste that and put it elsewhere. So yeah, really, really nice. So as we kind of look to wrap this up a little bit, what's your journey to? You mentioned you've kind of been on your own journey, right? So in terms of recent promotion to partnership manager, how did you end up even working at Leadfeeder? What was your story to get to this space now?
Yeah, of course. I was working at a digital agency, and during that time, one of my roles outside of just being a strategist for a lot of my clients and also working as a account manager there was managing the tech stack of the agency. So that gave me a really good look into how that partnership relationship worked, what that looked like, how they could help. And that really excited me about being able to actually dig deep into the tech, understand it, and then be able to not just be able to teach other people how to use it, but then look at the wider strategies outside of that as well. So that was where an opportunity came to join Leadfeeder and be able to kind of flip the tables and sit on the other side. So I really enjoyed that opportunity and being able to, I say, get deep into the actual tech itself, understand where it's going, how it's going to shape the world of sales and marketing moving forward, and be able to explore and change that, bring that to the agencies that I work with. So yeah, it's been a really good journey so far, one that's a year and 3 months in, and already a lot of exciting things have happened. We've seen new add-on products that we will not have time to go into today, mainly just sticking to web visitors and a merger that is going to help us go to new lengths as well. So it's been a really exciting journey and getting more into the world of remote working. As we mentioned earlier, Leadfeeder obviously has spent many years perfecting the way of remote working, and then also ways of being able to build a really good community within the organization as well, and really good ethos. So there's been some great things that I just wouldn't have expected from a remote company. And we also have things like we meet twice a year as a whole organization. So we're going to be doing that again in October, which is going to bring together not just the Leadfeeder side of things, but EchoBot as well. So get to meet all of those new faces, get to understand the roles of everyone in the organization, also get to benefit from all of those cultural elements as well. So being able to meet people from all over the globe and their backgrounds and how that shapes the way that they work as well.
So that's been like a yes, you work remotely, but the heads of the business have tried to get everyone together twice a year, wherever they are. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's a really good way of just, even though we see each other all the time over video calls and we're on Slack on Slack all the time and communicate, we feel like we know each other, but until you actually get in the flesh, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah, the Slack gifts is one thing, but seeing someone in person is another. Um,
Exactly.
so in terms of some quick fire questions, obviously they're quick questions, but they can be long form answers. In terms of highlights of Leadfeeder, what's your favorite use case that you've seen someone use the platform for?
Yeah, of course. So one of the things that I really like, coming from more of a marketing background, has been the ABM campaigns that a lot of people have been building. So the main reason why I really like those is there's a really kind of long built out strategy that is then coming together with our platform to enable it to work. So the Leadfeeder platform is being used to track the touch points of those particular ABM strategies, whether it's something that the sales team is initiating or something that marketing is doing as far as retargeting and trying to re-engage those accounts. All of that is being tracked within Leadfeeder. So normally companies are using either custom feed to be able to implement each of those company names to then bring them into a particular account, and then they will also track all of those additional touch points, send that back into the CRM with further actions, and then they will see how those actions are working coming back, and they will probably likely use either their own BI tool or use Google Data Studios. So we integrate with Google Data Studios, so they will be able to use that data to fully put in a view of all of those journeys going through those ABM based campaigns. So it's really exciting to see some of the new tactics, whether that's online, offline, all of those different things that companies are doing, and being able to fully attribute that using our company matching intent.
Yeah, I mean, previously it was so hard to. So you might have your list of 50 or 100 target accounts for the year, but it's actually really hard from a sales and or marketing standpoint to say what's been done against that, right? Or how close are we? Or the only real measure was, have you got any meetings booked with anyone there? Versus you can actually see
Exactly.
some of the groundwork that's going in behind it.
Mm.
Yeah, so the tech's that allowing you to get a bit more under the, behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah, it's one example is getting on a call with a client after they've put in one of those particular campaigns, and one of their key accounts has been back on the site, and they might have done a particular action such as like an event or a big call,
Mm.
and then they've said we've actually been able to see them come back to the site and look at the things that we wanted them to, and they're getting all excited about the fact that this tactic is really working, and it's kind of a warm feeling to be able to be a part of that, to see that their tactic, their time, energy, strategy, money is actually working and getting the right results.
Yeah, no, it's super important. So in terms of top tips for a big beginner using the platform and for a seasoned pro, what would you say if someone's just starting out on Leadfeeder? Obviously, if they followed the description below, there's an extended trial. But if people just getting started and all those that want to get more from their use, what would you say to those?
Yeah, so definitely when you first come onto the platform, you might not have any integrations that you're looking to put in at this moment in time. So you'll just be starting off with the Leadfeeder platform. You potentially got once you've got the tracker all set up and you've got the data coming in, I would just put time aside to start looking through the types of organizations that you're attracting to the site. Spend time looking at filtering them by tags that you apply, so that you can understand the ways of how you're potentially looking to filter those, and what sorts of organizations are coming in. And I would probably put a toe in the water a little bit with our custom feed. So a custom feed is the way of filtering the data, and maybe just building out one that's based on your ideal customer profile. So size of organization, so the employee count, and maybe splitting out by region. So the individual, if you've got a sales team that look after particular regions, maybe filtering by that just to start.
Would
And
you have
maybe
would you say do that for the? So it sounds like make sense of the data that's coming in, right?
yeah,
So would you say spend 2 4 weeks or longer, just or maybe 2 months even, I don't know, but let the data come in and then just make sense of it?
yeah, exactly. That is definitely the first thing to do is just understand the data that's coming in, how to utilize the data as well. So looking at what people are looking at on the site, thinking about the touch points that you might want to make off the back of it. So
Mhm.
what are you going to do? Are you going to outreach straight away, or are you going to have more of a kind of sequence to the way that you go about these things, and really just starting to understand what the data means to you and how you're going to potentially leverage it once it arrives in as well. So really getting comfortable with that and starting to think about what your processes might be. And we also have customer success managers for accounts that can support in those areas. And I'd say maybe putting a small toe in the water with one simple custom feeder of looking at regions. So just splitting it up, so the sales team, if they look at different regions at that, and maybe potentially looking at size of organizations. But that would be the first approach for someone that's just getting familiar and started. And then if we look at more moving into when people get more comfortable with the platform and they've started to understand their process a little bit more, it is bringing in that integration so that they can align the data with what's in the CRM. They can start to look at more complex filter options, such as crossing the data off with what they have in the system with other actions, so that it might be they have a criteria that someone needs to see a particular set of pages and a number of visits before any action happens, and creating those actions. So it'll be starting to understand what things they would like to happen by a particular visitor before an action happens, either in the CRM or using one of our Leadfeader actions, such as assigning it across or maybe setting up a follow notification. So really exploring that. Then they can start to look at more advanced things like importing a list of, maybe it's an ABM list, or it might be exporting from SalesNav a prospect list from a sales user and putting that in. It's a great way of moving more into that kind of pro user. And then from there, there's lots of great things that you can start to do, such as creating reports using Google Data Studios. You could start to build out more of a lead scoring system within the platform. So using those different touch points and give a basic tag and then upgrade that tag as they start to move through your lead scoring system. It might be using our data for retargeting campaigns from a marketing standpoint, or it might be then starting to grow through our other product offerings. So don't want to touch too much on them, but looking at things like our we have a GA connector which allows you to pass our data into Google Analytics. From there, it can be used to create it's created into custom dimensions. You can then pass that into any system that Google integrates with, such as Google Ads, so that you only serve ads to, let's say, certain industries, or only to B2B if you are a B2B and B2C site, which you wouldn't be able to split out without our data being passed, and that would optimize your spend. So there's lots of things that you can then start to look at in that sense. We also have other APIs that allow you to do web personalization. So there's lots of ways you can advance just beyond the web visitor tool once you grow within the Leadfeader ecosystem.
Yeah, nice. Very, very cool. From a Pipedrive, or as a Pipedrive user, are there any Pipedrive feature requests that you'd like to see?
Yeah, so one of the things that I would like, and I've seen a lot of requests come through, is potentially looking at the Pipedrive campaign. So having the ability to bring that data into our platform is definitely something that has been requested and looked at as well. And that's definitely something that's exciting, and hopefully maybe something that we'll see in the future.
And then talking about that's Pipedrive's new functionality with campaigns, so emails out at scale, all handled within Pipedrive.
Yes, yeah, that's one particular area, and there's definitely things that we could look at as well as and might be included in our merger with EchoBot, such as being able to pass contact data into the Pipedrive CRM. Might be something that would be possible and seamless. So rather than having to spend time sharing that data, then we could just, if you within our phone book element that you will see kind of that we have within the section, so contact element within Leadfeeder, then you being able to share that directly across to your Pipedrive instance. That's something that's definitely I've thought would be good, and I've seen those requests come through as well. So something that we're definitely looking to explore potentially in the future.
Yeah, nice. It's those incremental 1% gains.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like to cover before we finish off here, Stephen?
Yeah, maybe the only thing that I've maybe not touched upon potentially is looking at the two user cases. So we've talked a lot about kind of sales and marketing combined, but maybe just splitting them out a little bit. So one of the things that from a sales standpoint, it is there's two different ways of how I see a lot of sales users look at the Leadfeeder platform and the data that comes in. One being from that a lot of their time is spent outside of actually selling. So one thing that allows them to do is start to actually, rather than spend time researching, building up that prospect list, they're able to have that done by our system, be able to have a group of leads that have intent rather than being completely cold, and they know where to target. It's also giving them that personalization, because you can see that intent and be able to bring that into your outreach, and we have quick links to be able to jump into, like LinkedIn, or pass that directly into Pipedrive so that they can then continue their normal process from that activity-led system in Pipedrive and get straight into that prospecting. Also, on the other side for sales, before we go over to the marketing side, they're able to see the effects they're having on the sales cycle as well. They're able to see if their leads or deals are coming back to the site. They're able to understand where to prioritize their time as well. So if a particular lead, they've reached out a number of times, number of touch points, nothing's happening, but there's another lead that's coming back to the site really engaged, they know that to kind of change tack and maybe spend extra time on that particular opportunity and maybe less on another. So those are kind of the two different viewpoints that I see from the sales standpoint, of where they can see high conversions and also reduce the time spent on other activities, that when they can just focus on sales. Whereas marketing, when using the platform and using the data, they can use it as an attribution standpoint, so understanding the efficiencies of their marketing, what's working, what's not, use that to guide them in where they focus their time, whether that's which channels they use, which types of content that's working well with kind of the ICP, things like that. So that helps them really hone down on the marketing activity, where to point their spend, and what's working, what's not. So from that attribution standpoint, works really well. Also, a lot of MarTech does that at contact level, so misses out a lot of touch points that wouldn't be seen using an IP-based platform like ours. Yeah. And then the other side of marketing, that they're able to help with that lead gen, be able to pass further leads through to sales that would have to wait till they were maybe more qualified, so that they can bring sales into the process earlier on, be able to pass those leads that may be coming through from paid channels and just not converted, but are a really good fit for the organization, is normally where we see a lot of early adoption from users as well. And also then being able to use the data that they have, so seeing actually which companies are coming through to the site and how they can retarget them, how they can nurture them, what tactics can they use, and using the data to actually implement those as well.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm glad you mentioned that at the end, because we briefly put our toe in the water in terms of sales and or marketing, right? So I'm glad we got a nice answer to that. Well, Stephen, thanks so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. We have had a demo together, so we'll have the links in the description below. But if you want your own personal demo, I'm sure you can reach out to Stephen personally on LinkedIn. We've also got an extended trial in the links in the description below. So typically it's a 14-day. In the link below, you've got a 21-day trial of Leadfeeder. So do give that a go. And again, thanks again, Stephen. This has been the Evolve Pipedrive podcast, where we talk all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and Pipedrive Marketplace.